Dr. Sarah Fletcher moved quietly through the USS Yorktown's bridge, making notes in a small notebook. No one questioned her presence until Admiral Bradley Harrison noticed. His reaction was immediate. "Who authorized this civilian on my bridge?" Without waiting for an answer, he ordered her removed. No one defended her as security escorted her away, whispers following her exit. 45 minutes later, as Operation Sea-Watch began, the launch system crashed. Authentication codes failed. Foreign observers exchanged worried glances. With the Admiral's authority crumbling, the bridge doors opened. She returned. From which city in the world are you watching this video? If you enjoy stories about hidden strength and unrecognized heroes, please consider subscribing to our channel for more. The USS Yorktown cut through Pacific waters, its massive frame housing over 5,000 sailors and officers, all preparing for a classified missile defense drill years in the planning. On the bridge, Admiral Bradley Harrison surveyed his domain with the confidence of a man who had earned every medal on his chest. Dr. Sarah Fletcher stood quietly by the navigation console, her silver-streaked hair pulled into a functional bun, her navy pantsuit designed precisely to draw no attention. She studied the display with practiced eyes, occasionally making notes in a small black notebook. Though she moved with purpose, she seemed to exist just outside everyone's field of vision, a talent she had perfected over decades. Captain Marcus Webb passed by, barely glancing at her as he delivered reports to the Admiral. 3 analysts huddled nearby, discussing trajectory calculations, their eyes sliding past Sarah as if she were part of the equipment. When Admiral Harrison finally noticed her, his reaction was immediate, cutting through the bridge chatter like a blade. "Who authorized this civilian on my bridge during pre-drill procedures?" His voice carried across the bridge, silencing conversations. All eyes turned to the woman who seemed to have appeared from nowhere. No one answered. Sarah felt the weight of scrutiny, but didn't flinch. Captain Webb approached the Admiral. "Sir, security protocols indicate all civilian observers should be in the designated viewing area. Security, escort this woman to the visitor quarters. She has no business here." From nearby, Lieutenant Jake Morrison smirked. "Someone's tour group took a wrong turn," he murmured. Several junior officers suppressed smiles. As Sarah was escorted away, she remained composed. Behind her, whispers began rippling through the bridge personnel. Probably some bureaucrat's assistant. How'd she even get clearance to board? Commander Daniel Foster watched her departure with an unreadable expression. Unlike the others, he said nothing, checking his watch with particular attention. Sarah allowed herself to be led through the carrier's corridors. They passed through 3 security checkpoints. At the third, an older chief petty officer looked up from his station. His eyes met Sarah's briefly. "Understood. Proceed." Sarah was deposited in a small room for visiting officials. Once alone, she checked her watch. The drill would begin in 45 minutes. She sat at the desk and opened her notebook. She wrote a sequence of numbers and letters, her handwriting precise. When finished, she tore the page out, folded it, and tucked it into her inner pocket. Then she waited. 42 minutes later, a soft knock came. The weathered chief petty officer stood outside. "Director, it's time," he said simply. Sarah nodded and followed him. They moved through service passageways, avoiding main thoroughfares. "Status?" Sarah asked. "Phase 1 complete. System lockdown initiating in 2 minutes." "Good. And our observer on the bridge ready?" "In position, Director." On the bridge, the atmosphere had transformed. Representatives from 4 allied nations stood in the observation area. General Patricia Kane from the Joint Chiefs had arrived. Digital displays showed positions of 16 vessels participating in a coordinated exercise. "Operation Sea-Watch commencing in 2 minutes, announced Lieutenant Anna Rodriguez from Communications. "All stations report ready status." Admiral Harrison stood at command position. "Begin authentication sequence." Rodriguez's fingers flew across her console. "Authentication protocols initiated, sir." She paused, frowning. "Sir, protocols are cycling, but not accepting command codes." The first hint of tension appeared. Commander Lisa Park joined her at the station. "Redundancy systems also failing to respond, Admiral." The old chief petty officer slipped onto the bridge quietly, then made his exit, Commander Foster tracked his departure and withdrew a sealed envelope from his pocket. "This is beyond embarrassing," General Kane said quietly. "It's a strategic failure." Harrison's composure broke. "I want every system analyst on this carrier in here now. Communications restricted. Sovereignty verification required," the computer responded. The bridge fell silent. They were cut off, isolated. "What's happening?" Harrison demanded. "All automated defense systems are in standby mode. Manual overrides not responding," Park reported. "All external communications are locked down," Rodriguez added. "The system requires verification we don't have." Foster opened the sealed envelope, scanning its contents. His expression shifted to understanding. "Sir, I believe help is already on the way." The bridge doors slid open. Dr. Sarah Fletcher walked calmly onto the bridge, the old chief petty officer at her side. Her posture had changed subtly, from unobtrusive to commanding. Harrison's face darkened. "I ordered you confined to visitor quarters. Security, remove this woman immediately." Without acknowledging the admiral, Sarah walked directly toward the command console. Two security officers moved to intercept her. Commander Foster raised his hand. "Let her pass." General Kane, watching nearby, narrowed her eyes. Her expression shifted from confusion to recognition. "What is the meaning of this?" Harrison demanded. Sarah reached the lockdown console. With practiced efficiency, she entered a 16-digit code from memory, her fingers moving in precise rhythm. The system processed, lights blinking rapidly across the display. "Sovereign override accepted. Shadow protocol authenticated. Welcome, Director Fletcher." The main screen displayed a classification that made several officers gasp. Shadow 7 authority active. Below appeared a security clearance level most had never seen before. Admiral Harrison's face drained of color as understanding struck. Commander Foster approached Sarah, producing the small black notebook. "The preliminary analysis, Director, as requested." Foreign observers straightened. Lieutenant Morrison stared open-mouthed, his complexion pale. General Kane moved to Harrison's side. "You've never met a shadow director before. They're embedded in all strategic installations, ultimate override authority, answerable only to POTUS and the Joint Chiefs." "Why wasn't I informed?" Admiral Harrison's voice was barely audible. "That's the point, Admiral. If you knew, so might others." Sarah's fingers moved across the console with practiced precision. Status indicators changed from red to green. Systems came online, one by one. When she finally spoke, her voice was calm but carried unmistakable authority. "The drill was compromised. Someone attempted to use it to access our defensive grid architecture. The breach has been isolated. You may proceed with the drill, Admiral." Harrison composed himself with visible effort. "Director Fletcher, I apologize for the earlier misunderstanding." Sarah turned to face him fully. For the first time, she allowed the full weight of her experience and authority to show. "There was no misunderstanding, Admiral. Your security protocols functioned as they should. My role requires invisibility." The bridge crew watched in stunned silence. The woman they had dismissed now commanded authority that superseded everyone present, including Admiral Harrison. Foster called out, "Attention on deck." The entire bridge crew, including Harrison, after hesitation, stood at attention. Foreign military attachés also rose respectfully. Sarah, visibly uncomfortable with the display, acknowledged the gesture with a slight nod. As she exited, the chief petty officer fell in step behind her. After the doors closed, the bridge remained silent. General Kane finally broke it. "I've encountered shadow program personnel twice in my 30-year career. Both times under circumstances I'm still not permitted to discuss. Consider yourselves privileged to have seen one in action." Harrison nodded slowly. "Resume drill preparations and schedule a full security briefing for senior staff." As the bridge returned to normal operations, the experience lingered like a vivid afterimage. The revelation of Sarah Fletcher's true identity had shattered assumptions and reframed their understanding of authority. For many present, it was a humbling reminder that true power often resided where they least expected it.